Hello everyone, welcome to this video. It's been a long time, but yeah, I'm back and we've got an important topic to discuss. So with me today, I'm joined with Nick Katz. Nick's been selling on Japan for a very long time, longer than me. So he was actually the person, you're the first, I should just talk to you direct. You're the first person I ever found that was in Japan, a non-Japanese person that was selling on Amazon Japan. And yeah, I don't know if you remember, but I was asking you questions like back.
I remember this, yeah, of
Quite a
course,
few years back, yeah, and you like
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
saved my life a few times, so
That's cool.
really appreciate that. And
No problem.
yeah, so do you want to introduce yourself a bit more details about you, and then we can kind of jump into it.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, thanks for having me on. So I'm Nick. I'm in Japan. I've been in Japan for a very long time, about 25 years, in fact. So
Longer than me,
about half
double.
my life. I'm an old man. Yeah, but yeah. Actually, how long have you been here?
I think it's 12 or 13 now. I think
Ah,
something like that.
a baby. Okay. So I've been here about 25, and yeah, I've been selling on Amazon for a few years. I focus a lot on Amazon Japan. I do sell in Europe as well, but Amazon Japan is kind of, or as an Amazon Japan seller is what I'm kind of better known for.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we got an interesting topic today.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about importing into Japan and more specifically, I guess, to Amazon Japan, right? Because there's been a lot of changes coming up this year, 2020, and a lot of people, like in the Facebook groups, my group, Nick's got a group as well. And yeah, people are getting stuck because there's been some changes with the customs and things like that. So we're going to jump into it about that and give some updates. But first, I thought we'd kind of talk about what if you can explain to everyone, what was the simple process up until say like the end of last year, early this year? What did you have to do to get import into Amazon Japan?
Yeah, okay. So up until recently, there are certain steps that you had to do, an extra step you had to do that you don't have to do for other marketplaces or certain other marketplaces. And that is you had to have something called an IOR, which is an importer of record, which means, and this is information from Amazon directly itself. In fact, I think the information is still on the Amazon website, although what we're going to talk about later on is that that's now wrong. But to send products, you weren't able to send a product from abroad directly into Amazon Japan, into an Amazon Japan fulfillment center. Because there wouldn't be anybody in Japan who would be responsible for the goods when they pass through customs. And so Amazon wouldn't want to be responsible for the goods. And so the goods would get returned basically, unless there was somebody in Japan. So you would basically normally pay for a company. It could be somebody who lived in Japan, and they would basically vouch for the product. So you put their details on your shipping documents. And then if customs have an issue, if it's anything, it could be if the tax hasn't been paid, duty hasn't been paid, the boxes are broken, something, or customs want to know more about the product, like has this been tested, blah. They'll contact the IOR. They won't try and contact some, Joe Blogs in New Zealand. They'll want to contact someone in Japan, and they contact the IOR. So that's essentially how it used to be. So you had to pay, a few bucks. I used to have a company that had IOR. We charged like $50 a shipment. So it wasn't a major hassle, but it was just something else you had to do, basically.
Just a little bit extra.
Yeah, just a little bit extra, yeah.
Yeah, and so this year, over the last few months, there's been a bit of an uproar of people having some dramas, basically getting their goods into Amazon Japan, right? So yeah, so there's people, obviously, like I'm living in Japan, you're living in Japan, and there's also people, I've got, people in the group living in Japan trying to get it, for example, China into Amazon Japan, or from overseas. They're based overseas trying to get from China and Japan, whatever. But it seems like the case is that it doesn't matter where you are now, there seems to be dramas, right?
There's dramas, yeah. So, I mean, even I had a problem getting the products in. So it's not even the IOR is the problem. The customs are basically flagging anything that's being sent to a fulfillment center. So even my goods, I had a sea shipment come in about a month ago, and I got contacted through my freight forwarder, which is SGH, which is part of Sagawa Group, which is one of the largest freight forwarders. I think maybe the largest freight forwarder in Japan. It's one of
It's
the two
huge.
approved ones on Amazon.
Yeah.
You know, I'm using really a good forwarder, and then they contacted me and said, you know, customs are asking for, you know, invoices, proof of purchase, you know, bank transfer information. They want to see your products on Amazon. They want to see that fee calculator
Yeah.
screen. And
so maybe you can talk a bit more about that little point, because everyone's saying, yeah, that customs is asking basically to see your sell price, right, on Amazon, how much you sell it for, and then they're going to charge you on that price rather than, you know, what you actually purchased it for from overseas or wherever you got your goods from, right?
Well, yeah, this is so it's like a two-step problem, it seems like. So a few months ago, there were some problems, especially with sea shipments. And I think I just did mention that I am involved in an IOR company, so I see a lot of shipments, or, you know, we got a lot more information than just my own. So I'm speaking from my experience and also our clients' experience. So we did see some sea shipments, you know, even going back like 3 months, that were asked for these, but we thought it was because of other reasons. Some of those products were, for example, shoe products, and shoes have a 30% import duty in Japan. So we thought maybe it was just because it's just like shoes are a flag. It's the type of product you want to try and reduce the costs of. We're trying to find reasons why. Anyway, so they start asking for this information, and they end up charging you, you know, equivalent to about 30% of the sale price on Amazon. So that's where the situation was. We thought, well, this is a bit of a nightmare. You know, people are going to have to pay a lot more duty. But that later on, about completely not allowing IOR, that's going a step further.
Yeah.
Just to go back to that 30%. So what the situation is, and I've spoken directly to customers about this. So this is the official line. If you send your products to a customer in Japan, the customer in Japan is the customer of the product. And so tax and duty is based on the price that is based on the price that the products are bought for.
Yeah, by the consumer, right? By the customer at the end.
By the person who's buying the product. So this is where it comes down to who is buying the product. And this is the kind of real great thing. So if I am in Japan and I buy a product for, say, $5, and I sell it on Amazon for like $30, right? Amazon Japan. If it goes directly into Japan and directly into an Amazon warehouse, if customs don't think that I've bought it, I don't pay duty on $5. I've got to pay duty on $30 because that's what it's being sold for.
Yeah.
So that's where that kind of. So who is buying the product? So if there's somebody in Japan that actually buys the product for $5, and there's an actual transaction, you know, a purchase order, and there's a payment, a wire transfer, that's been bought at $5, that is what you'll be paying tax and duty for. But that's not, if you're a foreign seller, that's not what happens. So that's why they're charging. That's why they want to see how much it's being sold for, because the Amazon customer is the final customer in their eyes, not you.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. So this isn't happening for anybody just importing into Japan in general. It's happening basically, I guess, non-officially, just for Amazon sellers, right? People that are selling on Amazon
sellers. So I had this same problem myself. So as I said, that they did the same to me, but I did buy the products. The products were going to Amazon, but I did buy the products. I've got a purchase order and a wire transfer for that amount. So that's how I got away with paying the duty, you know, for the import price, not the selling price. But they're messing with everybody at the moment. And it's kind of, So that's the one problem, being charged more duty. But now it's escalated, whereas customs are not allowing companies to be an importer of record. So I should probably explain this. An importer of record doesn't actually receive the goods. They don't buy the goods and they don't receive the goods. They're just responsible for the goods. Now, customs now saying that's not good enough. They want somebody to be buying the goods, which means you actually have to have a company in Japan purchasing them first,
Yeah.
or they're allowing you to have something called an ACP. So that is also possible. Now, an ACP, it's a I can't remember what's it called. Something of the customs procedure. Attorney of customs procedure. I don't know.
Yeah.
Google it.
Yeah.
Somebody
ACP.
asked the other day. It's like Google it. I can't remember. Anyway, so an ACP is not. It's very confusing and different. So we used to do ACP as well. An ACP is not an IOR, but it's kind of similar. So an ACP, it's basically a proxy importer. So you're not an importer. Customs know you're not the importer, but you actually have a contract that says that the ACP, we are allowed to act on behalf of the company that's sending the goods into Japan. So it's kind of like a lawyer is allowed to do something on your behalf. So you have to have a contract with the ACP that basically says, they're allowed to make decisions on your behalf. And then that has to be sent off to the customs office. And that can take like a month, 6 weeks to come back. So they're allowing you to do an ACP. But if your goods have arrived in Japan and you're using an IOR, customs are saying you're going to have an ACP. But by then, it's going to take you weeks to get one.
Yeah.
And if you use an ACP, by the way, guaranteed you'll be paying tax and duty on the sale price on Amazon, not on the import price.
Yeah.
Because the customer is the Amazon customer. The ACP don't receive the goods. They're nothing more than
just a name
officially acting on their behalf.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's killer, man. That's just going to destroy so many people on Amazon, right? I don't know, and no one knows how long this is going to go on for, if this is a permanent thing or if this is a temporary
Well, that's
thing.
The thing. So, I mean, we've contacted customs a lot about this. Customs will only discuss a case that you are directly related to. So I could talk to customers about our own direct cases. And when people in our office have gone to the customs office in Tokyo to speak about one of our clients, that's when we could speak to them. You can only speak about a specific, you're not allowed to talk in general about things. They won't answer questions like that. But I've spoken a lot we've got a contact in Amazon because we are officially approved as an Amazon service provider. So I've got a contact, and I've spoken to her a few times about this, and she's kind of aware of it. But I mean, I'm like, you're probably going to lose like over 90% of your foreign sellers. Like shouldn't Amazon be doing something a bit more about this? And I don't know. It seems like Amazon don't seem to really understand the gravity of the situation. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so it's a bit of bleak news, but so that's basically the overall general situation, right, of the big changes that have come down, and that's the past. So looking towards what people can do in the situation, what have you got to say?
Things. I mean, it's okay. So first of all, the fact that it's really difficult for a lot of foreigners. This will take out 90, 95, 99%. I mean, a lot of the foreign sellers. It will take out a lot of foreign sellers. So that's one good thing, I suppose.
If you can stay on there, if you're one of the 1%,
it's good. It's good for us, mate. But there's one completely official thing that you can do, although it's obviously not great. Well, there's two official things you can do. The easiest one is to get an ACP, which means that you have to have a few weeks in advance, speak to a company that does ACP, get a contract, and then you will be able to bring your goods in. You will have to pay your tax and duty on the selling price on Amazon. You may find it a little bit difficult to find an ACP, though, for the reason that we stopped doing ACP, that even the customs office told us we should stop because the tax office is going to come down hard on companies doing ACP. So I know a lot of companies have stopped. I'm sure there are still some. So the easiest thing is try and find a company doing ACP.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do that's official is you have an importer. So you actually sell your goods to somebody else in Japan, and then they sell your goods on Amazon. So those are the two official ways. And then probably the easiest kind of gray hat way of doing it is not to send your goods to Amazon. Just don't have a fulfillment center on the shipping documents.
Yeah.
So ship the
You go
product
around
to
the-
somebody else. Yeah. Then they will label it and they will send it onto Amazon. So it'll just be a domestic shipment.
Yeah.
That is almost, I don't know, I'd like to say 100% guaranteed to work. That's a lot more likely to be okay. And as a company that did IOR ACP, we decided not to do that because it's not official and things could go wrong. But for a seller, the risk is it's slightly minimal. Well, the worst thing that's going to happen is your goods get sent back.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, most of the risk, well, legally, the risk falls more on the importer, right? The person in Japan that's taking responsibility for the goods. But if you're the person actually purchasing them or whatever, then like you're saying, the worst thing that could happen is, you know, your stuff gets sent back to where it came from, kind of thing. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That sucks too.
Which does suck too, yeah. But I mean, at least, but and also it's you got to keep in mind that sometimes when the goods come in, if customs do hold it, customs charge a hell of a lot of money. After a certain number of days, they charge warehousing fees, and they are absolutely insane. Those fees, you wouldn't believe.
Oh, it's happened to me before.
Oh, okay, right. but like normally you get a few days, but you know, if you try to come in as an IOR, they said you need an ACP, and you waited 6 weeks, that would cost you like tens of thousands. I mean, it would be insane. So yeah. So there are ways, but it just depends on your level of risk, your tolerance. If any company says that they can do it, really question if they really do know what's happening, because I've seen a lot of companies say, "Oh no, we can do IOR." It's like, really? Yeah, maybe you can do it, but you'll definitely have to be doing something else. If you think you're just doing it the old way, that ain't gonna work. So
and also there's freight forwarders as well. So like some of them aren't aware of what's going on as well, and they're going to get surprised of the extra costs that are coming on, and they'll forward that onto you. And really, it's their responsibility to know kind of what's going on as well. And if they don't,
but we should. I think we have kind of alluded to it in this thing, this talk, but it's all grey. There's no official line. The customs should not be doing this. So we probably should mention the reason why it's happening. So as I don't really like to talk about kind of the tax situation in Japan, but basically, if you're a foreign seller and your yearly sales are less than 10 million yen, which is about 100,000 US, in theory, if it's less than that, you don't have to pay the consumption tax back to the Japanese government. So, I mean, you obviously have to speak to somebody, you know, about your own situation, but that generally is the situation. So if you're less than 10 million yen, then you don't pay. If you're over 10 million yen, you have to pay tax to Japan. And I think the problem is that there's a lot of sellers, big sellers, who have been selling in Japan. They're over the 10 million, but because they're a foreign seller, they haven't been submitting these documents, and so they haven't been paying tax. So the customs is basically trying to get tax money at the point of entry. But the reason why they're overstepping their legal, the reason why they're overstepping what they're allowed to do is because they're charging tax on people who may well be selling less than 10 million Japanese yen a year.
Yeah.
So they're essentially charging tax on people who aren't tax liable.
Yeah.
So that's why it's all a bit weird.
But you can't really do much about it, unfortunately.
You can't. So I mean, as a good friend of mine keeps saying, and I totally agree with him, the tax office in Japan is the Yakuza. It is. I don't even know if it's a legal form of the Yakuza, but the tax office, it's
White collared shirts, Yakuza.
Yeah, it is. It's as dodgy as hell, and you cannot mess with them, obviously. So, but they go. So Japan, as many people might know, Japan's bankrupt. Japan has the highest debt of any developed nation. So they're just trying to get money. And I think Amazon sellers are the low-hanging fruit. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, the people watching this are Amazon sellers.
I know. But so there are ways, but But keep in mind, if you do find a way around it and you can get products in, there's going to be a lot less competition for sure.
Yes, that's the, what do you call it, the silver lining or
Silver
something like
lining.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, but yeah, unfortunately, that's there's no concrete, nothing's concrete, nothing's set in stone yet. But this is the
No.
basically an overview of what's going on, and if anything else becomes concrete later on, we can update people and let them know. And but yeah, that's about it. So cheers for that, Nick. I appreciate
Okay,
it.
thanks, Mitch.
All
Okay,
right,
mate.
we'll call it.